Here's what happened in Montana news and politics in the last couple of weeks. This video is a bit long, but strap in. Montana politics has been turned upside down, with the major Republican candidates Ryan Zinke and Steve Daines dropping out of the race. Ryan Zinke, who was the representative for the Western Congressional District, decided against running for another term. He cited two old war injuries and that he was going to need a lot of surgeries. Now, I'll take Representative Zinke at his word that he had health reasons for not running again. But rather than announcing his intentions at the beginning of filing season, he waited until about 3 or 4 days before filing season closed to release this announcement. Shortly after he released this announcement, Aaron Flint, a provocative radio host, filed for Congress, and he released a slickly produced ad. He had everything ready to go, got an endorsement from Trump right away, got an endorsement from all of the Republican leadership. Now, in the House race, Secretary of State Christy Jacobson has also filed, and so has Dr. Al, a perennial Republican who runs in every election out of the Flathead. That being said, they barely had a chance to get their campaigns off the ground, and there are Republicans who are upset that essentially a nominee has been crowned without giving the voters a say in the matter. Now, if you thought that was concerning, let me tell you about the United States Senate. Steve Daines was a pretty secure Republican incumbent in Montana and probably had a good chance to secure victory in November. He was also rising within the leadership ranks within the Republican caucus in the Senate. Minutes before the filing period ended, he dropped out. And he's given a couple of explanations for why he dropped out. He said, the travel is a pain, but we've never really been given a fully satisfactory explanation of why he resigned and why he did so at the very last minute. And just like with what happened with Zinke, Daines' preferred replacement, U.S. Attorney Kurt Alme, was sort of deemed as his successor, received a Trump endorsement, received endorsements from the top-ranking officials in the Montana Republican delegation, and there we go. A nominee has been selected. There's your choice, Republicans. I will say there are a number of Republicans who are not happy with the way all of this turned out. The Republicans did not, especially with the Senate, never got a chance put up different candidates so the voters could choose. And now at this point, we're going a little out of news and into speculation. But I will note that Kurt Alme did not have a sleek campaign ad ready to go like Aaron Flint did. It really did seem to be a very last-minute decision, with Alme resigning the U.S. attorney position just moments before then filing for office. Steve Daines had initially filed for re-election, and then he drops out just moments after Alme files, and then Alme has no public statements, and only just yesterday released his first campaign ad. A lot of people do not know who Kurt Alme is, and I think one other kind of not well-known Republican managed to file, so there will be a Republican primary, and there may be some protest votes against this designated successor. Another problem with that, without having the voters at least have an input or getting them on board, is that it doesn't ramp up voter enthusiasm. So these anointed successions, they're really just counting on Montanans to be complacent and not involved. Now, further complicating this is that there is an independent, Seth Bonner, who is also running. He's running as an independent. So the Democrats are fielding a candidate. We have Kurt Alme as the deemed successor for the Republicans, and then Bonner running as an independent. It's been an interesting choice for Bonner to file as an independent. You know, a lot of his supporters appear to be Democrats. He's doing his fundraising through Act Blue. There may not be a lot of enthusiasm for Alme, but with Bonner getting in, apparently with some significant money, running as an independent, as a Democrat, I'm really concerned that what's going to happen is that the Republicans know not to vote for the independent, and then the Democrats will split their vote. Then Almy will win. And that's a really unfortunate state of affairs. But of course, in politics, a week is an eternity. So let's see what happens over the course of this campaign to see if the independent or the Democratic nominee or even the Republican nominee, who really starts to rise to the top here, and to see if we have an actual choice or if we're all just going to split the vote. Now, the federal candidates have taken up all the oxygen, but under the radar, a lot of Republican incumbents in the state legislature are facing primaries. Now, as a Democrat, I'm not fully qualified to tell you exactly what the divisions are, but from my sort of understanding is that there are sort of Freedom Caucus Republicans, and then there's a term that some people call moderate Republicans, but they're not really moderate. They're very conservative, but they are interested in running the government. So I call them governing Republicans. And some of these Republican challengers that are challenging incumbents have a lot of money from outside the state backing them, from organizations like American for Prosperity. So the Republicans are duking it out in this primary. And based on the makeup of these governing Republicans and Freedom Caucus Republicans, we might have an entirely new legislature with different aims and different goals in Montana moving forward. With Democrats, actually, they filed for, I think, 118 of the 125 available seats. That's more Democrats that have filed for Montana offices in at least recent memory. Some of those seats actually went uncontested. So there's a lot of momentum building in the Democratic Party, in part because of national politics and because, at least from my perspective, the Republicans have not really been delivering the affordability solutions. We've got tariffs and rising gas prices from wars. Everything's becoming more expensive. The Republicans have not been fixing Montana schools. They have not been funding childcare. And what I keep hearing is that we need working schools, we need childcare, and we need things to be more affordable. So there is a lot going on. Thank you for your patience in following me with this video. If you like this kind of information, and I do shorter videos, like and follow and leave a comment. Thank you all so much, and have a great day.